All right, welcome back everybody to Blood on the Bayou. Last time, our coterie split up into two separate parties to, well, attend two very different events. The Toreadors went to the Longview Gardens, which has become the Elysium location of Prince Madeline within the city of New Orleans. They found themselves surrounded by not just Toreadors, as they thought the party would be, but also a fair number of Nosferatu and a special surprise, which perhaps none of them were really expecting once they entered into the gardens at the back of the estate. They met perhaps their first changelings and got a taste of what the amazing powers of changeling magic can actually do. Elijah was having a bit of a hard time, as he's perhaps been around a bit longer than some of our others in the coterie, and it had been a long time since he had seen sunlight, even though this was just an illusion. The poor guy was having a hard time. Our friends Michaela and Sakura were having a blast with Prince Madeline as she introduced them to an interesting form of, shall we say, narcotic in the form of smokable Sederhorn. And she also introduced them to a very important part of kindred lore, the story of the Dark Mother. And for the rest of our kindred, they made their way to Eden Tech, which is well, it's not the headquarters, but at least in the Louisiana area in New Orleans, it would be the headquarters for the firm of Mr. Finn Aegis within, as I said, Louisiana. Eden Tech is an environmental technologies firm, and they are into all kinds of very interesting things: ocean cleanup, renewable energies, and all sorts of transformative eco technologies. They had set themselves up on the Loyola Avenue. Oh my goodness, I was struggling over that word there for a second. And have built a really stunning facility there. Kenny and Sora and Alex and Quinn were in the process of speaking to Mr. Finn Aegis with regards to meeting up with the man who calls himself the Baron, who's one of the few anarch barons within the city of New Orleans. And that is where we will pick up our game today. So, Kenny, Andre, and Sora. Gwen, you had just been discussing a few matters with Mr. Finn Aegis with regards to being able to meet with the Baron. He seems amenable and seems to agree. And you were all in the middle of a conversation of what you believe the issues might be that face not just kindred kind, but, shall we say, all the members of the night people, the guru and the mages, the changelings, what the problems might be with them as you see it. Mr. Finn Aegis pointed out that his problem is that his problem that he finds, at least amongst his people, is that nobody works together. Everyone squabbles over history and land and who is right and who is wrong, and also essentially give into a lot of their primal instincts when they should be working towards unity with everybody, as much as it might go against the core of what they are. in the middle of this conversation, he had arranged for some blood to be brought up, and you do hear a ding sound. And Finn actually walks over to a panel on the wall, presses a button, and it's a form of dumbwaiter opens up, and he brings out his little tray, which has a few blood bags on it, and says, now, I think these are probably warm enough. Thank you, Abraxas. And you hear a voice which says, no problem at all, Master Finn. As I mentioned, Mr. Hamish, these should be O positive. I hope that is to your liking.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
So he brings over the blood bags. Now, I didn't have a glass or anything like that. Honestly, this is usually just for research purposes. But so where were we? When or how do you want to meet with the Baron? He's addressing it to all of you through the room. For Andre, who was not here last time, so Finn is just around 6 foot. He has salt and pepper sort of grayish hair, but he looks to be in his 40s, maybe early 40s, pretty well muscled. And he had introduced last time that he is what is known as a metis amongst his kind, which is guru or werewolves that are the offspring of two guru, and that they are often born with some form of deformity, or something that is not normal to guru. For him, it manifested in when his change took place. Basically, his legs are permanently in Krynos mode, so he has to use sophisticated technology to essentially walk around with a portable illusion generator, and he walks with a cane because he walks weird in shoes.
At this point in the conversation, Kenny, who has been leading the conversation up to this point, will look over to Andre and give his best approximation of fine, you want to be Primogen? Well, I got the sale started, but you need to be a closer if you're going to be Primogen, so you deal with this. Something like this.
Be closing.
Yes. So, in regards to meeting with the Baron directly, what would be preferable at this present juncture would be to arrange a transient communique. By that I mean our coterie will act as an intermediary for these purposes. Now, I assume, like most that I have encountered in this city, that you have discrete technologies at your avail that you might be able to make use of for such communications. Would that be too bold and presumptuous of me?
You can see that Finn is about to answer, but you hear a voice that says, well, yes, it is entirely within our purview to take care of all of that, Mr. Bissett, was it? Abraxas, I'm dealing with this. I'm sorry, he gets kind of up. I mean, I'm having a meeting. Yes, we have technology that can assist in this.
Very good. I, of course, keep similar technologies on my person. What I would recommend, then, is a brief exchange of some details. We will need to work with the Baron and arrange for a suitable neutral location upon which you can both meet.
Now, I have a question. I understand that people all have a role to play, and Madeline has her thing going on, and you all have your thing going on, and I respect all of that. But I am a businessman at heart, and I understand when there is fine print involved. What is preventing me from just going out to the swamp and seeing the man now that he says it's okay?
Depending upon the risks that you wanted to levy upon yourself and your colleagues.
There was werewolves.
Indeed. Though I suspect that is less of a problem for one such as yourself. However, I would be remiss to think that those of your kind are somehow more unified than those of my kind. So I could see it being every possibility that those moonwalkers within the swamps may not have direct allegiances with yourself. It might be seen as trespassing on your part to enter the swamps.
Well,
What myself and my coterie can provide is safe, neutral ground.
a storyteller question
Shoot.
for you, Alex. The way that Andre is presenting his case, are there any falsehoods in how he is and what he's saying?
No, he's just not providing the full truth. So, in fairness, like he said, they're 100%. They could go ahead and arrange to meet on their own accords. Andre is not lying in regards to saying that he is willing to provide a neutral middle ground in regards to that. What he's not divulging, of course, is because doing so helps him continue the power play that he is attempting to make himself. So, by acting as an intermediary in this situation and forcing himself to be an intermediary, he's going to gain bargaining chips. So he's simply not providing that information freely, but otherwise is being 100% honest with his intents.
Very good. Very good. All right. So Finn, you can see that Finn is listening very carefully to your words and very intently. And he says, as I mentioned, no, you're not wrong. Our kind is not unified. And again, this is why I believe, as far as our part goes, this is why we are losing. However, the lands, at least in terms of what the original population of Louisiana state would belong to a different clan, a different tribe at least. They call themselves the Uktena. The leader of their tribe within Louisiana has made it known that she's of a like mind, more or less, to myself. those that are involved in activities against the Baron and his kin are a different sect within that tribe. They're not a small sect, but they are at least united in their rage. If you and your folks would like to take it upon yourselves to go out there yourselves and speak to the Baron once more in person to arrange this is fine. Although I don't know if there was something else you had in mind, because, well, it would be just as dangerous for you, if not more so, than it would be for myself and my colleagues just to go directly. But if you're willing to take this upon yourself, I see no reason not to. And in fact, in exchange for these services, I'm not an unreasonable man either. Mr. Sora.
Yes.
You had mentioned that you have potential need of technology like I have.
Mm-hmm. That's really nice. I will really like to use that too, if you could give me one.
It might require a certain degree of trust on your part, because
Okay.
first I would need to know exactly what it is that we are trying to cover up. I mean, for me, it's obvious. It's a newish technology. I worked these out maybe 6 months ago. Before that, I was having to walk around hobbling quite a bit in special shoes because it was very annoying. But what would we be trying to cover up?
Kind of looks around at the ground for a second, realizing the opportunity that's there, that he might be able to walk out in the streets and not feel as afraid as before, but still feeling that inner conflict of like, should we trust this dude? And then after coming into a consistency, he's going to kind of like holds up his hands and says,
You have to pinky promise you're not going to tell anyone.
It might not mean anything to you, but among my kind, I was born, shall we say, at a certain phase of the moon, which is the truth. We're supposed to keep the law amongst our kind. So you have my promise. I won't tell anybody whatever it is you're wanting to show me.
Okay.
and so he starts to take off his hood, take off his bandana, the do-rag first, then of course the bandana, and finally slowly peels away the bandage. And as he does, the third eye of course opens up.
He says, I need to hide this. It can't be done with magical means. And if anyone of my kind besides my coterie sees me like this, I would be in big trouble, because I'm not really supposed to exist, and supposedly I taste really good. So
You taste real good.
that's what I've been told. So so yeah, I want to be able to walk around and feel a little bit more comfortable, but there's really no way to hide it magically. So the only options I have is with like physical means like this. But I'm assuming maybe the technology could put like a hologram, like you see for Star Wars, and they put it all over my face, and then I could be able to go out and be okay.
Well, that's what these are. And, Finn, you can see that it changes to look like he's wearing his business suit pants, and then it changes back. That's what these are. We can try. Do you mind? Would you stand up for a minute?
Sure.
And he kind of like stands up
Okay.
with all the items, garments in his hands.
Abraxas, could you take his measurements, please? And there is a little round sphere that floats into the room and sort of zooms around your head and zooms around your body for a minute. Doesn't seem to be making any sound really. And then you hear coming through the speakers, yes, sir. I believe we can probably have this done within a week.
Are you BB-8?
Why does everybody assume that? And the little ball just zooms off. No, he's not BB-8. This is Abraxas. Abraxas is my assistant. He's well, he gets kind of busy when I call him AI. I'm smarter than you, sir. My intelligence is not artificial. Anyway.
There's literally a genuine smile on his face. You can see Sawyer trying to hold back the smirk, the snickle, you know, because you can see the discomfort. But he had to admit that. He had to admit that was pretty funny. So you just hear.
You know, one of these days, I might. No, it's fine. It's fine. All right.
And he raises his eyebrows and says, I'm starting to think it's going to be a little bit safer for you if I wait outside. And he starts walking to the elevator.
So Finn does point and he sort of raises an eyebrow and looks at the rest of the coterie members that are assembled here. Is there any?
Nothing of concern.
All right, very good. So back to the Baron. How exactly do you want to handle this? Are you going to be heading out there yourselves again, or did you want me to give you something? Because as far as communication, do you need?
Do you have
a cell phone?
Do you have a pager or a burner phone? I believe is what the kids on the street call it.
I can give you a phone.
Very good. I will acquiesce with the Baron and find out when they will be able to participate in a meeting with you on neutral ground. Because I also think that for both parties involved, it would be best for neither to find themselves at a disadvantage. There have historically been tensions between our kinds. And I would hate for either side to view this as some other kind of opportunity.
It's an unpopular opinion, but this is what Madeline and I and some others are working towards changing. And Finn walks to a wall, which is, it looks as if there are certain segments in the wall, but it's all a solid wall. And he touches one of the segments, and like a drawer kind of thing sort of moves out. And he reaches inside and pulls something out, and then the drawer closes. And he hands you a small rectangular piece of clear glass. You can give that to the Baron.
Interesting. He'll take it and tuck it inside of his inner vest pocket.
Well,
Do you have any recommendations on how to be friendly with werewolves so they don't try to attack us?
Kid, well, that's difficult. See, number one, most of us are assholes. Number two, some of us are real nice. And you're never gonna know who you're dealing with. So, what advice did your, I'm sorry, what is the word again? I missed the word. I want to say maker, but that's not correct. Sire, is that what I'm going for?
Sire, yes.
What did your sire tell you about Guru? I imagine the first thing that they told you was probably the first thing that gets told to all of your kind.
Well, she told me that you have to be very dangerous. They can be very dangerous. And always stay on guard and be on your toes. But that if you can, if possible, try to bridge the gap because there's humanity in them like there's humanity in all of us.
There's a genuine look of surprise on Finn's face.
And he'll point to his third eye and say,
Different.
I understand. Well, in that case, maybe you'll be fine. Just keep being you. Now, is there anything else that I could help you fine gentlemen out with? Now, I was honestly kind of excited the fact that you mentioned genetic research, and I understand that you yourself, Mr. Hamish, are a bit of a scientist. We do have some projects that I would love to get you involved in.
I'd be honored and excited to help take place any kind of projects. I'm awfully bored in Louisiana. I mean, I keep myself busy, but, always looking to branch out.
Now, we do have some ground rules. We can set you up with a lab here, no problem, but there are some exceptions. There's no killing on the property. We are definitely sourcing all of our required blood, etc. ethically. It's all by donation. Everything's very legal here. I am a legal corporation, but I am always happy to deal with those of like-minded scientific natures.
Well, I always find it in bad taste to kill the sources anyway, because you're going to run out of blood eventually. If you kill them, why not just keep them alive so you can keep milking it?
And
I mean, ethically, of course. Voluntarily.
we'll workshop the idea. We'll workshop the idea. All right. Well, I have your details, and I look forward to hearing from you all.
Wait. Okay, I've been trying really hard not to ask, but I have to ask. Is there a way we can have like a version of Beckett? He seems really cool. I won't. If I promise not to call him BB-8, will he decide to come with us too?
Abraxas?
Braxis,
mean-
yes. Braxis, yeah.
Well,
Had to ask.
the thing about that is that once somebody becomes their own person, they're a person, and they don't necessarily come with anybody. They do what they want.
Oh, you're a person? What? Can I ask? Can I ask him if he wants to come with us?
You hear a voice that says, Master Sora, I'm quite content where I am at the moment. However, should you wish to speak to me on occasion, I will be available on your phone.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Can you pop up like a ball too, like you do here?
Unfortunately not. Those
Okay.
are units which are installed within the building, specifically within these quarters that Mr. Finn makes use of.
You all are really smart.
Yes, I am. And Finn
love that dude.
sort of shakes his head.
Another
Well,
smile. I like the quick smile when he goes back to look at it.
I have
Finn.
a few things to attend to. As I said, we will work out some details with, if you're interested, Mr. Bissett, for collaborations here on research, Mr. Hamish, of course. But good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Pleasure was mine.
Thank you. You're really nice.
Thank
And
you.
as we step out and start making our way back to the vehicle, after I'm confident that we should be out of earshot of everyone else, probably
He would have.
once we're actually back in the car, Andre is going to look over at Quinn. Mr. Hamish, while the prospects of researching with members of the Garu is fascinating, might I caution you to tread carefully? And he'll just silently then start the car and begin driving away into the night.
Well, but of course, I thought it might be a good research opportunity to get some more varied specimens.
Absolutely. Just know there is a storied history between our kinds. And it has rarely been positive.
Is it the
Well,
wet dog smell?
it's far more complicated than that. Perhaps at another juncture we will explore this in greater detail, but just watch your back while you engage in this newfound relationship. It would behoove you.
Think of it like walking over the canyon on a tightrope, right? It's a real neat perspective until you slip and fall.
A very astute analogy, Mr. Hartsmith.
Well, I guess I'll have to make sure to bring a parachute.
He gave me a chat bot. I mean, he seems pretty nice. He kind of holds up the phone where he's assuming Brasket, right? His name is Brasket, I think it's
Abraxas.
Braxis, yeah.
I will send it to you, to everyone in chat, so you'll be able to.
You threw
keep
me
wanting
for
to
a
say
minute
Beckett.
when you said Beckett. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's a whole nother
Oh, yeah.
ballpark.
I think that's the reason I was getting mixed up, because I keep having Beckett on the brain. Yeah, Braxis. So it holds up the phone.
So right now there's no, like, it's just your phone at the moment. If you want to speak to Abraxas, you might need to, like, I don't know, what are you doing with your phone is my question.
Oh, he was just going to hold it up. He's like, Braxis, are you there? And he kind of like presses a few things to see if there's like an application that's like was installed there. It's like, is there a Braxis? I don't think it
So
came from the-
there's no application, but you do hear coming out of your phone speaker, Mr. Sora, I am terribly busy at the moment.
Oh, you're there. Okay, we're just making sure. Okay, please stay safe. Take care.
Considering that I don't have a physical body and I am literally part of several buildings worldwide, I believe I shall be safe. Thank you, Mr. Sora.
No worries. Wow, several buildings. Oh my goodness.
At the offices of Eden Tech, the four kindred have just left the premises, and as the elevator descends to let them leave, Finn Aegis is leaning against a counter and speaks out into another room. So what was your impression there, Shuck?
You know my thoughts on Kindred.
Why don't you go ahead and describe the individual that Finn is speaking to?
He is a 6 foot tall man of Japanese descent, covered in tattoos, wearing a white business suit without the shirt on underneath, and he steps out from the shadows.
So Finn replies, I know. But like it or not, there are advantages to having these people that live a hell of a lot longer than we do.
Pray
Uh,
tell, what sort of advantages? All I ever see is they cause chaos and can't agree with one another.
The same can be said of us, though.
Yes, but we live short lives.
True. The benefit of their long lives is planning. You got to use the resources you have, and they have a lot of resources. Abraxas, and you hear a voice come out of the speakers that are ever present in the room. Yes, Master Finn. So did you get a good look at our friends? Yes, Master Finn, I believe I can accurately calculate their relative clans, as it were. Well, do enlighten us. Our young friend with the three eyes is, as he mentioned, not supposed to exist anymore, I believe. It's what is known as a salubre. The young man who decided to leave earlier is what is known as a La Sombra, and to be honest, I'm quite happy he did leave because I was getting a migraine. Finn looks at Hisoka. I mean, I don't need the sass. What about the other? It was difficult to tell with the young scientist there, Master Quinn, I believe. I believe he is what they refer to as a thin blood. If you could see air quotes, there would be air quotes when he was speaking. And then the last person that says, and Mr. Bissett. Oh, Mr. Bissett does not exist, sir. What do you mean? Well, I happen to do background checks on all our friends as well. I believe your Mr. Bissett is actually a cover. I have not entirely discovered who he is just yet. It's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But as far as it goes, he is what is known as a Tsimichi. Finn looks at Hisoka.
Trustworthy.
Yes. Very trustworthy.
If you wish to do business with them, that is completely fine by me. Know that I do not tolerate liars.
I was listening real carefully, though. He didn't lie. But I guess that's a difference when you're practiced at leaving out the truth.
Something you know I exceed at.
Well, then you and Mr. Bissett should get on like a house on fire.
Put me in a room with him and I will snap him in half.
He pats you on the shoulder. Let's go get something to drink.
You're buying. You've got more money than I do.
And as the two kindred leave, the two guru leave, not the kindred. We're going to transition to our other kindred, who are completely oblivious of what just happened. Our lovely Toreadors at the garden party, the Elysium. Sakura and Michaela, you have been chilling out there by the Eden tree for a little bit, and Prince Madeline wondered if our good friend Elijah is still back at the table where you had left him, currently nursing a potentially bleeding hand. Elijah, what would you like to do?
He's going to set the remains of the champagne glass down on the table. Turn to the nearest waiter. Where is the nearest bathroom, please?
Just back inside the main building, sir.
Thank you. He's gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay.
He's holding his hand because there's blood dripping down his wrist.
Sakura and Michaela, you can go ahead and make a wits and awareness. You are relatively far away, but you know you'd be able to potentially see if you could spot that your friend is moving.
Does us being high affect this at all?
It's going to affect it in the following ways. You will act as if you have heightened senses on and you can't turn it off for the remainder of the evening. And it's all senses. So you can add like everything is much more, like everything feels much better. Everything looks just boom. But you know, if a car was backfiring next to you, it wouldn't be exactly enjoyable.
I got 4 successes for the wits and awareness roll.
Okay.
I got 3, but are we adding it like it's
You can,
heightened
yeah,
senses, or-
you can
okay.
add it like it's heightened senses if you have it. So you can roll those dice.
4.
Dang it, I only have sense the unseen.
4. For Sakura, because last time you actually did also sort of, you know, fail your essentially con save. You also act as if you have sense the unseen up for the whole evening, basically, that you cannot turn it off. So 4 successes, I would say that's enough. You do notice sort of like out of the corner of your eye, you can just make out the figure of Elijah moving back towards the inside of the house. And Elijah, as you step out of the fake sunlight and back into the house, your clothes again revert to what they were when you came into the party in the first place. You're no longer wearing your Greco-Roman-esque type outfit and gladiator sandals.
Complete sigh, straightens his jacket with one hand and just keeps walking.
All right. It's not too long before you manage to find a bathroom. And as you are walking into the house there, why don't you also go ahead and make a wits and awareness roll for me, please?
Two.
2. Okay, yeah, nothing in particular catches your eye. But yeah, you managed to make your way into a bathroom and sort of clean up the wound on your hand from the from the champagne glass that you had shattered in your hand when you saw the sunlight earlier.
He totally does push open every bathroom stall before he washes his hand. Just like,
Checking if there are poopers.
Yeah,
he's just like, get out. You're in here. I don't want any kindred in here.
these bathrooms are, I don't believe, the kind that would house stalls. It's more like it is sort of like a singular, wash basin and toilet and all that type of stuff that you would find, because the house is
He
quite
then
old.
locks it.
Okay. All right. Sakura and Michaela, what would you like to do?
Sakura is staring at this tree, thinking about where she is, and comes to a realization that there are Nosferatu here. And she has a Nosferatu baby who wanted to come to the gardens. So she is going to go find Madeline and try and ask if she can bring her son.
All right. We'll keep your 4 on the wits and awareness from earlier. And because you cannot turn off Sense the Unseen right now,
No.
it's very easy to find Madeline, because in one corner of the garden, shining like a bright star that almost gives you a headache, you believe that that's probably Madeline, unless it's somebody else who makes your eyes bleed when you look at them with Sense the Unseen as well.
Fun. She doesn't want to approach because that sucks, but also wants to be polite. So she does approach to talk to her, but sort of like looking but not looking because ow.
Yeah, I understand. It's like the Medusa effect, it's like, hey, just wanted to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah, like if you're in my peripheral, it hurts less.
Madeline does notice you coming, and it is indeed her. Are you enjoying yourself, Sakura?
I am. I came to a realization there are Nosferatu present.
There are, yes.
You may not be aware, as I presented him to the previous prince, I have a child.
I'm aware, yes. I was told that you have an adopted child there, yes.
He's a Nosferatu.
Oh, how lovely.
And he's been dying to come to the garden.
Well, you can bring him anytime.
Would it be okay if he comes tonight? If I go grab him quick?
Well, it depends. I would say yes, but be aware that, well, as you've seen, the satyrs often will be satyrs.
I probably will keep him to the main ballroom.
You are entirely able to bring him. I look forward to meeting the young man.
I will definitely go to the end. We'll be in the main room because I don't think he'll fare well with the sunlight.
Understood.
And she is going to leave to the main room and just call Ricky.
All right. Michaela?
Michaela is doing the same thing that Michaela would do when she's high, just giggling at every little thing. And then she notices like Sakura going out back into the main hall, Elijah also going back into the main hall, and she feels a little bit of panic high that she's gonna be alone. So she stands up and sort of runs towards the main room because she is, afraid, and she has no example to follow, and giggling does not seem to be the right thing to be doing right now when she is alone. So she's now paranoid, basically.
Understood. Understood. Michaela, you are making your way back into the house, and Sakura and Michaela would both notice the same thing that Elijah did the moment you crossed the threshold back into the main space. Your clothes revert to what they were when you came. You were no longer wearing those sort of Grecian type outfits. Elijah, you are in the bathroom and you've locked the door. The bleeding did stop because you were no longer doing that on the wound. Let's see if your composure returns there quick. You can just make a resolve and composure roll for me there, just to see if you are. If
I want you to know how little dice this is. He got 1 success.
1 success. So it's definitely enough that, again, you've stopped clenching that hand. You're maybe not quite ready to leave the bathroom quite yet, but you stop clenching your hand and you're giving yourself a breather, which is an interesting thing. A breather for someone who doesn't breathe.
He's just talking under his breath, trying to get himself calmed down.
Yeah, and 1 is still a success. So you're doing it. It's just a little slower. That's all.
Kind of pulling out his phone to check to see if the others had text.
Yeah. Well, we are gonna pop to Sakura for a second there, quick. Sakura, you call the house and you're calling Ricky.
I'm calling Ricky's cell phone.
Okay, so the phone is ringing and you pick it up, but it rings for much longer than you'd expect it to normally ring. And you're not sure if it's because you're high or if it's because, maybe Ricky left it somewhere. You're not really sure in this state that you are. Is it taking longer than normal, or am I just high? Either way, after what feels like an eternity, the phone does pick up and you hear, "Oh, thank goodness, Miss, are you coming home? Something's not right."
Runs to the bathroom where she's all Elijah. Does not knock, just opens door if it's locked. Just like knock, like Elijah.
Like, because he's leaning against the thing, he just steps up, straightens his outfit, unlocks the door, and opens it. Yes.
She looks frantic, and it's Ricky. He needs us. We gotta go.
What are you going on about?
I called to see if you wanted to come, and he's in trouble. We need to go get Ricky.
Alright, let's go. Let's go. Where's Michaela?
Michaela
did we see Michaela?
was tailing Sakura. I think you're muted,
Okay.
Liza.
Michaela's probably giggling in a corner because as soon as she sees them both, she's just like, "I'm safe," and just giggling in a corner.
So go acquire Michaela.
Elijah's one-handed texting the others, being like, "Something's wrong at the house."
Oh yeah, Sakura would have texted everyone too, like, it's Ricky, help.
The 4 of you, as you've basically just gotten into the car and are getting ready to exit the car park, you do get that message on your phones.
Andre will quick pull up the phone and check the message, roll his eyes slightly, and pick up the pace on the way back to the communal haven.
All right. Through the magic of
Driving so fast for it. Click, 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 tap, tap. Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry, this phone's kind of slow.
Understand.
Look at those good old 3310s.
And the hands
So you have
of
to
a Sombra.
type multiple times.
Through the magic of editing, you all get in the car in your various vehicles, and you are all driving back to the coterie haven. Elijah's car is a lot faster.
He also drives it like a speed demon.
So they for sure arrive first, but you guys do not arrive much long
Storyteller?
after because, yes.
I propose a roll for cops on Elijah.
A roll for cops. Oh my goodness. Roll for cops, sure.
I mean, with a description like he drives it like a speed demon, like I mean,
I mean,
Well-
we're talking like rapid reflexes too.
Our
This
son
is
is in
true.
danger.
This is true. Rapid reflexes. All right, but it's not going to
It-
be a hell of a lot of dice there.
absolutely is just like, screw this, I need to get home.
So you can roll your wits, drive, and celerity.
Wit? Isn't it
Yeah,
dex?
wits. Yeah, we can make it dex. We can make it dex, drive, and celerity. That's fine.
Cool.
Because even though Loyola Park is quite a bit closer to the Coterie Haven, Elijah and them are driving like a McLaren or something. So
I'm spending a willpower, gonna make this a little better.
Sure.
Hopefully.
You don't get to tell me my son's in danger and expect us to not just book it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's cops want to see where you're going, but they only rolled it too. So yeah,
there you have it, folks. You can outrun the radio. You just need a McLaren and celerity.
that's all you need, guys. That's all you need.
Super
A
He
simple.
McLaren
heard
and
Ricky's
celerity,
in
and
danger.
you'll be
He does
fine.
not give an absolute
Yeah.
two things. He was
Three-
like, if I see a police officer try to stop me, I'll eat him when I get back to the house.
3 terrified Toreador in a car. What did you expect?
All right, you make an expert drifting parallel park onto the by the sidewalk near your house. It's great, and you, Andre and Kenny and Quinn and Sora, you arrive in. Was it the Prius? You went in the Prius, correct?
I got a. Yeah, we take somebody else's car. If it's mine, it's a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Because we drove there, I think we were driving the Prius.
I think so. I think
yeah.
you're in Sora's car. Yeah.
I thought we took the 2003 Honda Civic.
Oh yeah, the Honda Civic. Yeah.
Well, either way,
Yeah.
you arrive in that vehicle.
The other ones,
And
I'm
you-
sure, are parked at the Haven. So
And you see that that Sakura and Elijah and Michaela are already out of the car and basically going up to the door. Now,
Elijah grabbed the handgun from his glove box and the knife he keeps under his driver's chair.
very good.
And Sakura is racing.
Sakura, as you were still under these effects, even with the because you did fail that concept, even with the adrenaline, or it wouldn't be adrenaline necessarily for kindred, but still you do have those, those fight or flight type things which are running through you. Even with that running through your undead physiology, you have not shaken the effects yet. For Michaela, the very fast driving skills of Elijah definitely have brought you back down to normal level. So you are back at normal. You're back at normal now.
I've been
but-
scared sober.
basically. But for Sakura, the first thing that you notice when you guys come up to the house is that to your eyes, the entire outside of the house almost looks gray, like absolutely gray. And you also notice, because you cannot turn off heightened senses at the moment, and you can feel everything very acutely, that the closer you start getting towards the house, the colder and colder it becomes. Kenny, the moment you are getting closer to the house, that smell that you have come to associate with oblivion is everywhere. It is just as dense, if not denser, than what you got from inside the room that the Baron was occupying and had set up his specific altars, etc.
So it smells like
It's such
because I don't have better words for it. It smells like an oblivion ritual, even if Kenny doesn't necessarily know what that means.
it is the scent that you would associate with
Necromantic
oblivion or the abyss, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's something that would not make sense to describe to other people, like the smell of really old leaves mixed with an electric fire and ozone and the color purple. It's nothing you could put words to other people. But the best thing you could say is, yeah, it smells like oblivion here.
Well, Mr. Bassett, I do believe that our evening has become substantially more complicated, as it were. He steps out of the car, straightens his suit jacket.
Sakura and the three toreadors, you are basically by the door. What would you like to do?
Sakura is gonna just close her eyes and try to listen before she opens the door.
Because of the fact that you cannot turn off the heightened senses, you can hear the most distinct thing that you could hear relatively close to the distance from the door is the sound of scratching. It doesn't sound like persistent scratching. It sounds as if someone has got an implement and is like using it to scratch things slowly.
She will take out her knife.
Something else that you hear is the sound of a dog growling, and you hear the sound of a cougar busy sort of like doing an angry sort of snarling sound as well.
She will pull out her dagger, like it's like a little jeweled hilt, just have it at the ready, turn to everyone else, and just say, the house is great, it's cold, the animals are angry, and something's scratching. And just open the door and go in.
Elijah holds the handgun out to Kenny.
And Michaela sort of turns on premonition just to see if she could at least see something that's about to happen before Sakura jumps into the house.
Okay, so it will, to activate premonition, takes a rouse check. So first make your rouse check.
Quinn's going to
It is a success.
Excellent. I believe it's wits and auspex. Give me 1 second. I used to roll this all the time.
I have
Wits
it
and
down as
auspex.
I have it down as resolve and all specs.
Thank you. Yeah.
When
Just check my own specs here. And that is 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. Let's go to that first. Michaela, you are wanting to get a sense of what might happen, and you will yourself to activate a premonition. Your sight drifts to a different place. It looks as if you are in a very old settlement around what you would imagine a almost frontier type settlement would be. It's small, but you see that there are different flashes of events that are difficult to make out. You see that there is a woman that is tied to a stake, and there are bundles of kindling been put all around her and set on fire. And to your sight, the fire becomes this raging inferno. And then when you're looking at the fire again, it looks as if the fire is surrounding a gate, a beautiful, ornate gate that is burning with flame. To the left and to the right, there are high walls, which seem to be made out of hedgerows covered with flowers that you've never seen before in your life, but the hedgerows themselves are definitely thorny. Behind you, the vista opens up to what looks to be gray, desolate deserts, but there is this burning gate in front of you, and the hedgerows to the right and to the left. And then your sight shifts again, and you see a pair of giant wings fold up and disappear, and then you're back in the room.
So that's a lot to take in for Michaela. So she just sort of holds her head for a little bit. And I quickly tell like whoever is nearby that I told them that, hey, I try to see what's about to happen, and I see this witch. She's tied to a stake, and there's fire, and then suddenly there's a big gate, and there's a desert, and suddenly giant wings, and they're just up and disappear. I don't know what that means. I don't know how it's related to what's happening right now with Ricky, but that is what I've seen when I did this. That's what I tell everybody.
Can he, as Elijah offers him the gun, can he just shakes his head and pulls out his gun, and then he activates prowess, aims down the sight, and with the proficiency of someone who looks like they've been asked to professionally aim down a sight and then kick down a door multiple times, slams his leg into the door with prowess.
I think Sakura already opened the door.
Sakura had just
Did she?
swung it open and charged.
Yeah. Sakura had just
Okay.
swung it open and charged it.
So then he'll start moving in like while aiming down his sight.
Excellent. As Michaela tells everybody about this premonition, and Sakura has pushed open the door and is rushing in, and Kenny is following behind. Sakura and everyone, to everyone, it's very noticeable now. that the house is so cold. If you had breath, it would be coming out in those wisps that you have in winter when the moisture that is in being expelled from your lungs sort of freezes in the air just a little bit. But you do not breathe, so that effect is not happening. But if you were breathing, that would be happening. Sakura, you rush in through the main hall, and to your eyes, the wallpaper is different. The carpeting on the floor is different. The light fixtures are different. Everything is very, very old-fashioned and very functional and Spartan. There are, to your eyes, there are near the entranceway, there is a simple wooden cross that is affixed to the wall, where you know that there should be a beautiful mirror that Elijah had wanted to install as like an accentuation piece that would help pick up some of the room and everything, but that's not there. There's just a simple wooden cross that's there. You come into the room, and to everyone's eyes, not just Sakura's. So Sakura is the one who is seeing the house as different, but to everybody's eyes, what you see is that the living room appears to be covered in blood. You do not smell blood, except Sakura. Sakura does smell blood, but it appears as if it is covered in blood. On the ground, there appear to be the hacked up, dismembered body of a man. There also appears to be a woman who has been pinned to a wall with a large iron poker. You see that Sheila is near one wall that is that would be the wall that would, behind that wall would be the staircase that goes up to the next level, but in this room it's the wall, right? And you see that she is just scratching with a bloody covered knife the words into the wall again and again: unclean, unclean, unclean. She is just writing that again and again. And Sakura, to your eyes, the bodies that are on the floor are very visible and clearly there. To everyone else's eyes, the bodies are on the floor, that the blood that is on the floor, they sort of waver in and out of existence every now and then. I need everyone to make a wits and awareness roll for me, please.
To clarify real quick, were people going in the front door or the back door of the communal haven?
Front door.
Okay. So as people were going in, Andre actually hasn't stepped into the house.
Okay.
And he probably put a hand on Sora's shoulder, as Sora would have been moving towards the house, and stopped them and motioned for them to go around to the back.
He nods and would wait, would you be going down the back as well, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Andre's going with
All
them.
right. Okay, so he nods, and he will follow suit. Just to clarify, when we left the location, he would have rebandaged all of the items, so he's not like,
I figured.
Okay.
That he wouldn't step out of the car in the middle of the street with three eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got a GM
One
that gives us the
one night
benefit
of the
doubt.
year. One night of the year you can get away with that, but it's not October 31st.
I was saying, like, is that Halloween? I was like, okay,
Yeah. I don't get that Sora guy. He always wears the same outfit every Halloween. I mean, like, we get it. You like aliens with three eyes, but it's anyway, back to the serious business.
Yes.
So we'll jump to Andre and Sora, then coming to the back of the house. You do come to the back entrance, and again, it's very noticeable to both of you at this point in time that the area is super, super cold.
Is this anything that Andre would be familiar with since, and we'll go ahead and put it out there for the audience now at this point, because we've kind of alluded to it. Considering his background as a Sabbat defector, and the fact that his pack previously consisted of 2 different La Sombra members, has he encountered this type of oblivion before in his past?
Let's have you make a check to determine if you can get a feel of what that might be. What would I like you to roll? I wish there was something specifically along the lines of, well, I guess academics does kind of fall into that role, but what we're going to go with is
Cult could work too.
we'll make it occult and intelligence.
Okay, pretty good for me.
I will say, because of your previous pack, you can probably add in a dice for that.
Okay.
They might have described something like this to you before.
Well, let's go ahead and blow willpower on that. Why don't we? That was a terrible result for as many dice as I have. Okay, 4 successes.
4 successes. 4 successes is not bad. 4 successes is not bad. I feel that you, from your understanding, this doesn't seem to fit with what they might have done, or some of the practices they might have told you about if they had been involved with like this mysticism or anything like that. But considering what you have experienced in this house and what you know of in this house, you are aware that things like wraiths and such do exist. So I would more say you would be inclined to feel that it has something to do with that.
Okay. That will certainly dictate how he approaches the situation.
Okay.
So with that in mind, he's probably at least a little bit more confident about this situation. He'll go ahead and kind of take the point position with Sora and actually go ahead and step into the back door first and proceed into the house from the back.
All right.
Sora will also be activating heightened senses as well, just so he could keep as much detail as possible in. Most likely hearing, I think, will probably be where he will be going for versus sight. It's just
Excellent.
It'd be easier to hear stuff than seeing in these corridors.
Perfect. So now that everyone is in the house at different sides, let's do that awareness check now. Sakura and Sora, you've activated heightened senses, so you can add that in. Well, Sakura has no choice but to have heightened senses active right now.
Can I also put in my sense the unseen?
You can.
Cool.
Yeah,
Kenny would
Elijah's
al-
gonna activate Sense the Unseen because he's looking for Ricky.
Okay.
Kenny would also yell something out as they enter the living room and see this.
Mm-hmm.
He calls out, "Your time has passed. Release this place."
You
5 successes for Andre.
3
successes.
with the spent willpower.
Okay.
I suppose I should be 5 successes with a critical in there.
Okay. 5 with the crit.
7 successes with 2
Girls.
crits.
Nice.
Very nice.
And how about Quinn there for your wits and awareness?
Yeah, 2 successes.
2 successes. Elijah? 2. Okay.
And
So
Sora's a 5.
okay.
I have a
All
3.
Okay. So with the wits and awareness roll for like the perception check, generally speaking, Andre and Sora and those that also have like the 5 there and the 7, you would hear the sounds of the scratching for sure. You also hear the sounds that closer up to where you would be able to triangulate, because those are such nice successes, where you would near where Sora's room would be, which is not too far from where Ricky's room is. You can definitely hear the sounds of the cougar and the dog busy growling. Lagatha and oh gosh, I named Bernard. There we go. Lagatha and Bernard. You can hear their sounds. You also hear Michaela, because you rolled a 7, 2 crits there, and I guess we can also say for Andre because you got the crit there. You can also hear the sound of Ricky sort of like whispering and in fear, the words like, just go away, leave her alone, go away, please leave her alone, go away. And Michaela, you, with your sense the unseen up as well, it is not a sight that you hear, but you hear throughout the house these echoing sounds. And you also see the house in a similar fashion as Sakura sees it at this point in time. The texture of the floors again has changed. The decorations have changed. Everything looks very, very, very old-fashioned, very like Spartan sort of fastidious religious household, olden times kind of decorations, basically. Everything must be simple, easy, not too many decorations. This is functional, all that type of stuff. But you also, Michaela, hear the sounds of a woman's voice, which is saying, "You're just like that girl. You're filled with the devil, and I will teach her. I will teach her. Come, child." And you hear, all of you start hearing the sounds of screaming coming from Ricky. It is Ricky screaming, and he is upstairs. And you would hear clawing, scratching sounds.
Just
Um,
booking it to his room.
Yeah,
I'm
same
gonna
thing.
motion for Sora to head to their room as we're going up the stairs, because I'm gonna follow along with everybody else as soon as Ricky starts screaming. But I am gonna motion for Sora to go check on the animals and make sure that they are okay.
Kenny, when you said what you said, you saw that, Sheila. You saw Sheila sort of stops with her scratching on the walls, and she does turn her face to yours, and you crying. She is just crying and crying, and then she goes back to scratching on the walls. Sakura and the rest, you are running upstairs, and all the rest of you are running upstairs and making your way upstairs. And I forgot to play the music. I really wish I had started the music to make the scene more intense.
Start it up now.
Next time.
It's all good. Ticket
And
it.
Sora, just to clarify, Sora would have went to his room as Audrey stated to check on the
The
animals.
animals.
Yes.
I mean, to be
We'll
fair,
set the
my
turkey.
guess is that they're just freaking out because of all the supernatural crap happening right now.
Yeah. So
It could-
here's the thing. As you get closer upstairs, you can actually hear that your animals, who are by no means not brave or hardy, because they are Gould as well, they are making sounds of terrified, absolute fear. Sakura, you are basically the first one up there because this is your adopted child, and all of you see that, visible to all of you, even those without Oblivion sight, you see that there is a rip and tear in the hallway space. It seems to be this black, empty void with organic-like veins which are extending from it, and there is a familiar-looking woman who you just saw pinned to the wall downstairs with a fire poker through her, dragging Ricky into this portal. And there is a very large, grayish, greenish, blackish hand that extends out of the portal and pulls them both in. And the portal shuts. And we're going to go ahead and pick up there next week.
What?
He's
You're,
been kidnapped.
You're awful. You're awful.
I knew that
Ricky
was coming.
Ricky is in the other land. Oh.
Seeing what I can do to stab it, and you're like, and they're done.
I knew that was coming. I was looking at the clock. Literally, I was like, "Oh wait, it's 4:46, so we better get that clip in."
We're gonna do
Channel
that
that
next
intersect.
week.
Channel that intersect.
Yep, be sure to join us next time, y'all. That's good.
Be sure to join us next time, guys, for sure, for Blood on the Bayou Chapter 8. And thank you to everyone who has been liking, who has been following, who has been subscribing. Thank you for taking your time to watch this show and this chronicle that we've been putting together for everyone. We have been very happy to share this with you all, and we are really starting to plan to bring you more content. So for those of you who are kind enough to subscribe, we are going to be bringing out as much as we can for all of you. We have a new project which is coming out in July. We're doing a mini series of City of Mist, so with D'Artagnan Mataliano as one of our players. So I'm looking forward to everybody seeing that. And you know, if anybody feels like joining our Discord server, we'd love to have you. There's some great people there. We do actually have a subscribers only lounge there in our Discord server where you can chat to some of our cast members if they're available and ask some Q&A questions and such like that. But you know, spoilers and or not, up to you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We love you lots, and we will see you next time.
Look in the mirror, is that what you saw? You act like a diamond, you act like a star. You can't get your feelings to look at the sun, or see through the eyes of a human at all. Oh, that's when I told you that you sold yourself. Clouds are raining, scarecrows ain't scaring, the music's reflecting, nothing at all. She Your lips are shaking, skin is shedding.